Hey there, welcome back guys. In this video we're going to be, well, shut this thing off. We're going to be building this, the ultrasonic, basically measuring tool, digital. And special thanks to Aurora from NOEVSBIG who sent us these magnetic helping hands, which are phenomenal. And you'll see them throughout the video being used. And if you've been following me, I've always used clay. And no more clay. Magnetic helping hands, which are maneuverable anywhere on here to create an experience that's just right for you, especially when creating this thing right here, which is really cool. So we turn it off. Check it out. It measures from here to here, and then it can measure, keeps going and going and going. Of course, you could set the threshold because you don't want it beeping all the time. Most likely you would set it at 0 from up here, and then as you come down, you could shut off the little beeping thing, right? Because we don't need it beeping. The numbers will adjust accordingly and work just right for you. But you can just set it and forget it. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. Let's shut this thing off so it stops beeping and get you going so that you can have your own little digital measuring tool. Come. So we're gonna just start over here. So if you've been following me and seen me any of our soldering videos, we like to test the parts first because sometimes things can be glitchy. So what we want to do is you could have a multimeter or a little meter like this, depends what rocks your boat. But we want to lay the parts out, right, according to how we're going to take them, and then test them out. So for example, last time we did an LED lighting glasses and half the LEDs were dead. So knowing that and moving forward, we're just going to untangle this thing right here. The long side is the positive and the short side is the negative on the diode. And what we do is we just do this to make sure the parts are good, because we need to make sure the parts are good. I'd hate to solder them on the board. You'll get an error at first on this particular one, and as long as it flashes, we know that this diode is good. See, it says diode right there, and it even tells you what it is that you are measuring, which is great. So we got one green, and then remember, the short side is the negative side, and the long side is the positive side. This part's a little bit tedious, but it's good to do because if you've seen when we made those glasses, half of them were dead. And this one I didn't see light up. Let's try that again. And if, oh, there we go, it did light up. And if you have extra diodes lying around, then you could use those, but if you don't, you could always order them online, or in this particular case, send the kit back. Just say, hey, and Amazon has an amazing return policy, no questions asked, and you can return it. You see, as long as they flash. Again, it was a nightmare because we think we soldered over 100 of these things, and it was just and I was like, you know what, I'll just send it back, but I waited too late. But thankfully with these we have 3, 6, 9 altogether. So there aren't that many to measure, but this is a quick process, and this is a really I would say short soldering kit, given that there aren't many parts. See, oh wow, that one's pretty bright. I like that one. Okay, so that measures really well. And then we have 3 more red after this. Again, if you don't measure the parts and you solder they're on and they're not good, then you're not going to know why your ultrasonic ranging DIY kit isn't working. I don't know why they just don't call it digital measuring tool or digital ruler. They have just too many words. Too many words. Just trying to describe this one little measuring tool, digital measuring tool. That's all they got. Oh, that one's pretty bright too. You could see that one from far away. That one. So again, if you don't measure your parts, you're going to build the kit and be troubleshooting and wondering what went wrong when you could have done this all along. Again, this is a beginner video. So if you're not a beginner, you know, just do what you need to do. Follow along. Come join us. Maybe you want to brush up on your skills. But either way, if you're going to brush up on your skills, you're going to have to test these. You could test these while they're soldered on the board, but we don't know what the voltage and current is going to be because there's no schematics. They didn't include schematics in this thing, believe it or not, which is a little bit of a bummer. So we measured all the diodes or LEDs, whatever you want to call them. The switches are pretty good. You don't usually have to measure those. The buzzer, we could just do a positive and negative, and you should hear a slight buzz. The short side is the negative side, and you should hear like a and in case you're wondering, see, look, check it out. Test in progress. Okay. And see, you know, didn't sound anything. I measured it as a diode, but let's see if I can figure out which one. We can maybe take the green, right? Take the green one. Let's see, green would be positive. Don't take the stickers off. Okay, sometimes if you do it right, you can get something. I heard something. And try the black. Oh, you can't. Well, it's not going to work because look, I did it on the wrong one. Let's see, which one's the short one? This is the short one. So we'll see what happens if we do two next to each other. And we'll leave the red. See, it measures has capacitance, and then we'll just do here. Short one is the negative, and we'll do that. Test in progress. Sometimes you'll get a buzz, see, measures the same, and then with this one, hold on. We'll leave the black one since the black one's a negative and the black one's a short one. Because each line is different because they're connected to two different ports on here, believe it or not. You'll know when we measure the transistor or the resistors for the resistance. Test in progress. And the measure's fine. We got some, you know, a little bit of something. Sometimes you'll hear a buzz, but I didn't hear anything today, but that's fine. We know that'll work. The diode, this particular diode, so we'll just go here and put this here. Oh, I think I put it on wrong, but let's see. Let's see what we get out of it. My measure is backwards. Resistance, yeah, so it's not supposed to measure like that. It should show up as an icon for the diode. So we'll put that there and then put this here on the negative. And so if you know your parts, you'll know what you should see. See? There we go, a little, and if it doesn't, you'll just be like, I don't know, measuring blindly. Like let's say, for example, this one. This is the transistor. Okay, so we'll put one red here. We'll put, and it should show up as an icon on this. And then we'll put one in the middle, and then the black one on the end. See? And then press test. See? That's a transistor, and it says transistor, which is really cool. And in case you're wondering about the other LEDs, I'll show you, because you're like, wait, your hand was covering it. It's okay, we got you covered. Remember, the long side is positive, and wait for it. Oh, see, it lit up. And then, see, we got a diode, and it should have been this one though. It should have been red and the black. I don't know, it's just how I have it set up. And then I'll put that there like that, see? And then press it, and then wait, see, it flashes. As long as it flashes, it's giving us a little bit of juice, and we just know that that's a diode. The only downside is that the red is the positive, and the other side's the negative, and it says it on there. But on this particular board, it doesn't tell you. If you've been soldering with me since the beginning, it doesn't. There's no, for the LEDs, it doesn't tell you. So basically, the square is the positive and the circle is the negative, which is a little bit of a bummer because if you've been involved in electronics, you've never seen that before. And the last one, it told you the diode goes in the diode place, the LED or whatever, Anyway, so that's a little bit tricky, but I'll guide you through the process there because that's new to me too. I've never seen it like that. Now the resistors. There's no right or wrong way to put your resistors in, okay? Because you're going to get the same measurement no matter which way you put your prongs. So let's say I'm going to put the black on this side, okay? And then the red on this side. And then I'm going to test it, okay? And you'll get an error at first with this thing because you have to press test again in order for it to work. And wait for it. See? Resistance 10, which would be 10K. Yeah, so it's 10, 1K. Okay, so that's fine. So now, look, watch. If I change it so that the red is here and the black is on that side, measure it again, we should get the same number. See? Same number. And the reason why I mention that is because there's no right or wrong way to put them in, but I like to put them in uniform. So, you know, when you're like, oh, it doesn't matter which way you go. You're right, it doesn't. But I like to put them in the way that they're going in on the picture, just to keep uniformity and visually, because you want it to look pretty. You know, you want it to look nice. You don't want it to look like red on one side, black on the other, and you know, even though they're going to measure the same no matter what. So you know, you decide how you want to put them in, but there's no right or wrong way to put these in. Okay, see that? All right, so these are resistors, and then so these measure pretty good. But you know, these you can't, I don't have any extra ones laying around. Now you could measure all these. So if it doesn't work, I already measured them, but just giving you an idea. And this one should measure 10. So let's see. So we'll go here. We'll do 1, okay? I'll give you an idea. I'll leave a link to this in the description if you like this meter, but there are other meters out there that are actually better. But this works, this does the job. This will measure everything. See, 10.00 kilo ohms. And then that's that. So you can measure each and every one if you have spare ones. In this case, you know, we can measure each one. See, watch. And see, 10. And make sure they're not touching, because if you look, the other one's touching up at the top. And then we got 10, see? And then we have this one. Shouldn't make a difference, but I just don't want it touching. Let's see what happens. Yep, 9.8. It's fine. You round it off. And then we'll go here. And sometimes, you know, you can get a lemon and it doesn't work. And if you have a square one lying around, you use that one. See, 10.05. And then last but least, and then we'll go here. Measure them, you know, measure the parts, because it was a nightmare building those glasses. You know, I just took it for granted. I was like, it should work. I bought it from the store. They wouldn't sell me garbage. Yeah, they did, believe it or not. It happens, and you know, it happened too many times with those glasses, though. Let's see what we have here. Yep, we got 100, which would be, yeah, 100. What did it say? 100, yeah, 100 ohms. Okay, so that one should be 100. Next one should be 100. And let's see what we have here. We'll measure one more. Yep, see that? And then one more, last one. And then we'll do the transistor again so you guys could see, since yep, and then 100. So we're good to go with these parts here. The only thing, if it doesn't work, that means you put them in the wrong place. If they're mixed up, sometimes these kits come with the parts mixed up, then you're going to have to measure them. And for that, I probably recommend getting a digital multimeter, because if you don't know the difference between the 10 and the, which is fine if you're new to this, the 10 and 1K, then get a digital meter, other than, you know, this visual one that gives you somewhat of a reading. And you just have to you know, you're pretty much second guessing, like, oh, that must be it then. Doing like a process of elimination. But this is, you know, it's very old school, very different. See, there we go. Voila. Except you won't be able to measure the transistors with the regular multimeter. Which is why I got this one, because we were doing a lot of projects with transistors, like the robotics kits, the Tesla coil, the universal remote control had a lot of transistors on there. you know, stuff like that. But I don't. I mean, we'll do another trends. We're going to do another radio, FM, AM radio, down the line, but not anytime soon. All right, so that's that. These are our directions. We've measured the parts, which is great. This is our biomimicry at its best, ultrasonic ranging device. I guess it like works like a bat echo. You know, it should throw back the signal and should read it and give us a measurement. There's our buzzer. And we tested all the parts. If you wear glasses and you can't see too well, you could use something like this. Let me just put this. These will help you see things better. Okay. And we've got the helping hands, magnetic helping hands, which is amazing. These were sent to us, and thank you again to the folks that actually sent us these. There's a link to these in the description down below, and this is actually part 2 in the series. We actually did the unboxing for these, but these are just phenomenal. So we're going to be using these too. All right, knowing that and moving forward, let's you could Flux. Oh, and look, we have this here, the little LCD screen and the chip at the bottom. Be careful with the chips; those can be sharp when pulling them out. All right, so I think we'll start from the top and work our way down. So actually, you know what? We're going to solder the components first, because this way, actually, no, I'm not sure, because we've got the helping hands. Normally I would do it like this on the board, but we're going to try it with the helping hands. So we have here, I believe, first let's do the resistors, okay? And it's pretty simple. If your kit came with them taped like this, then great, because then you can just undo them. And again, put them in however you like, because there's no rhyme or reason. I think I'm going to put them this way. And we know they work because we just measured them. So this part's a little bit tricky. So we got our soldering iron ready. We always always want to make sure your soldering iron is tin. You could use a set of tweezers to make sure, you know, you want to bend it right, so you have that space that works just right for you. And then we'll go here like that. See that? And then we'll just put one in here, one in there. See that? And then you just push it in. And then what you can do is, I'll test out these things right here. See? This is really nice. Look at that. Oh, wow. This is amazing. Look at, and then we can just flip it over like that. You could use tape. I recommend painter's tape, because that will allow you to hold it in as you flip it over when you solder it. So like this. See? Oh, wow. I didn't realize it can bend like that. Look at that. We can just put it back. Or not. Let's see. Oh, yeah. What do you know? See? You can put this back. Or not. I'll leave it like that. And then what we can do is, hold on one second. We could always use one. Find that right angle so that we can bend it backwards. Maybe it's not this one. Maybe it would be, this one. Okay? Look at that. See that? Amazing. And then these come off. See? It's magnetic. So we can do like this. That's why I like these. These are amazing. All right, so now you want to heat up your soldering iron. I don't think, it depends on the board. Some boards require flux, some don't. You know, it's going to be hit or miss. But what we could do, just to streamline the process, is take some flux. See the flux, right? And then what you can do is you can put it on the board, so that when you're soldering, your connections will just melt on. And for this, I'm just going to put it on the resistor part first. See, in that particular area. Knowing that, and moving forward, now we can plug in our soldering iron. Okay. And stay tuned for the end. We've got a surprise for you. Okay. So this needs to heat up. In the meantime, we can move this out of the way since we're done with it for now, because remember, we still have so many joints that we want to put together. And my glasses, I think I'll leave here. And there's our solder. We need for this to get to about 700 and something. This will move up a little bit so that you guys can see. Move the other parts out of the way so that you don't cross-contaminate and accidentally burn stuff or blow it up. And then now we can put this here and start plugging away. You just want it to bleed in, kind of like that Terminator when the guy made from liquid metal. How he just bloop like that. You just want the solder to have that kind of effect as you're doing it. Turn the light on here so I can see. And then what you do is you should be able to, when the temperature is just right on here, you should be able to tap it. Yep, like that. And boom, tap, and it goes right in. Tap, and it goes right in. And to get off the excess from your soldering iron, I should have taken a new one of these out, but it's fine. Just use that. You know, I have this one, but this one's okay. You know, you can use, and that's just to take off the excess. And then for that one, I could use a little bit more solder there. And you just let it bleed in. See? Just tap it. And if there's too much solder on there, you could use the soldering Wick Pen, which I have right over here. You know, you can just tap it. Most likely you want to cut it first, but in this case I didn't. But we got it. That's if there's too much. And then you should just have a clean soldering connection, which works really well with the experience. And then when you flip it over, and the reason why, again, remember, the reason why we put the painter's tape there is to hold it as we turned it upside down with the magnetic helping hands. And so when I take it off, see, it's in there. Kind of neat, huh? See? And there it is. So the gold is on the other side. So again, I could put two in. So I can just use the tweezers like this to turn them over. Just bend them a little bit. I can take the tape off to streamline that process. Bend them a little bit. See? Bend them a little bit. Or you could use your hands if you're really handy. It depends on your skill set. And then with these, I'm going to bend these a little bit. Not too much towards the end, but just right. See, I got that one. And that one. Now again, there's no rhyme or reason with the resistors, but I like to keep everything uniform and pretty. So I'm going to put these in the way the first one went in. Okay? Knowing that. And moving forward, we're just going to put that in like that. And push him in, push him in. And the painter's tape is going to hold it in. But before we apply the painter's tape, I want to make sure that everything is golden with the way that it fits in so that it's just not sloppy. You know, we don't want it to be sloppy. So you see they're in, right? But now I want to make sure they don't move or budge, and then press down on the tape, painter's tape. It's like $1. See, now I have this here like that. Now it's a little bit hard to see what's what, so I can bend these that way, and then, yep, now they're in. And so then I could use these magnetic helping hands again. Look at this, is amazing. You can use the other ones too, depends on your flexibility and what works right for you when soldering. And then now, remember we applied the flux and helps to streamline the soldering experience. And then this needs to reach the right temperature. As you can see, it's at 5 something. It needs to be at almost 700. And then we're just gonna disconnect from here. Tap it. You should just be able to tap it. It's not at 700 yet. Yep, there we go. Tap, and then tap. See, once you tap it, it just works its magic. And you could clean it up later after you clip everything. You know, if you find that it didn't liquefy right or evenly distribute itself, through the process. See, voila, we did it. And now we're just gonna clip them. Clip the other side just to bring it down. So we're gonna have to clip things as we progress along inside of this project. So see, then we'll just clip that, and then we'll clip that, and clip that, clip that, clip that, and that, and look, great connection. See? And then if we take the tape off, voila. Again, I just like to keep things uniform. So that's for the, what do they call it? The first 3 resistors, okay? Which were 100 ohms. And now we're gonna put in the R4 to R7, which would be, I believe, 1K, okay? Which would be like 1,000, and then 10K goes underneath. So the 1K goes here. Too bad it doesn't tell you, you know, then you'd be like, oh, that goes there. So we're just gonna roll the tape back a little bit more, see? And then we're gonna get these ready. I'm pretty sure we can streamline the process and just throw these all in there, and then throw the tape over, and make the experience just right for you. Let's see, so we're here. And then, see, bend them so that they go. Again, you don't have to use tweezers. You could use your hands. You could use whatever. As long as they, you know, go in the way they're supposed to. They don't, like, look defunct, and it just looks nice. You know, because you don't want your job to be sloppy. You know, look, see, watch. I could use my hand as long as I angle it correctly. Black, okay. I'm just looking at the uniformity process to see, make sure they line up that way. But see, once you get the hang of it, everything will just streamline and just go right in. Again, we're putting 6 in, so it would go beyond it would go from R4 to R9, okay? So R4 to R9 is where these are gonna go in. And see? And then we'll go here. See that? Put them in. Got 3 more left, which is cool. So we'll have to roll the tape back a little bit more. Make sure this thing is, that one's recording. You ever record something and then all of a sudden, nothing recorded. Let's see, that goes here. 2 more after this, which is great. And again, you want to, you know, flight controllers are expensive, but the thing about flight controllers is that you only get 1 take. I mean, you don't want to spend time camping on your flight controller board. You know, you want to tap it like I am doing with these parts here, and then let the solder melt on it. If you're camping on your flight controller, chances are you're gonna blow it out. It's gonna burn out, and our parts, you know, on the board, the soldering connection experience might not be optimal because you burnt the pads. Actually, I'll do a video on how to repair soldering pads, but I actually have all the parts too. That would be an interesting video, right? But you don't want to do that. And they're expensive. They're not cheap. Look at this. This is an amazing. You see? Look at this. I'll leave a link to these in the description down below. And look, they're magnetic, so they move around however you want on the board. They're not tied to the board the way they are on other boards when you have other helping hands, when you can't, when you want to streamline the process. They're here. See that? You can't really move them and adjust them and maneuver them around the way you can with this thing right here. So there's always going to be an angle that works just right for you. Okay? Knowing that and moving forward, we'll just spread these out a little bit, you know, so we can get in there with the soldering iron. See how easy this is? This is great. And this is thanks to these helping hands. Okay? Let's see what we have here. Yep, now I can squeeze in there and I can turn it around. Again, I have to wait for this to get to the optimal temperature. So that'll allow me time to move this around, the helping hands. And now I can go here. Oh, as long as the temperature is right. Otherwise, you're just going to be camping on the board. So you have to know what soldering temperature you have. And then for your solder, what's the optimal melting point? And then put it on. Because if you do it too soon, the more time you spend on it, the more time your board's going to get ruined. And remember, we put the flux on. The flux is what helps the solder melt too. So now I can, oh, that one looks like it could use a little help. Looks like just a little bit. Just put that one. See, just tap it. Sometimes after you cut the wires, they tend to do better. And then this one, same thing too. Just tap it. But you want to reach that right angle to get everything where it's supposed to. See, tap it, and then it just liquefies like that liquid metal guy from the Terminator. And then remember, if you're camping on your soldering, you either need flux or your soldering iron is not too hot, okay? Or you just haven't gotten the right angle, one or the other, like this one. Just trying to get the right angle. And voila, got it. Kind of neat, huh? Yep, it's all in there. And then you want to clean your tip off every now and again, like that. Clean it off. You get the remnants of the goop off. And now this one's ready to be cut too. And just watch your stuff. You can take off these parts here. And then now, let's see. See, we just cut them off. Just trim them. And you could fix any other parts that need to be fixed. Oh, I forgot, there are two more. Hopefully the soldering iron didn't cool off. Sometimes some parts might need a little more solder, but this one's pretty good. Again, let it bleed, let it liquefy, let it go bloop, let it, oops, that one didn't apply enough. Apply and let dry. See? That one could use a little more, but yeah. There, voila. And again, remember to clean off your tip. See that? And then now we can, oops, yeah, I guess I gotta take these off. Do 1, 2, 1. I was like, wait, did I put the wrong ones on? If you do, that's fine. That's another video on how to remove the soldering components. Because sometimes you might need a heat gun or the little suction thingy there. So that's pretty good. See? Look at that. These are in. And then finally, the last 6 go at the bottom. In this case, we'll just put the tape there. And then we have here the 10Ks, okay? And you know, you can try to keep the solder, things organized. So we can take the tape off because these are the final pieces. We're going to do another soldering video. We're going to be building an AM FM radio before we build a, what do you call it? AM, FM, we built an FM radio, which worked pretty good. That one was a disaster because that one sent us broken components too. And thankfully, that was an interesting video because we were able to create a nice troubleshooting video and taught you guys what to do on how to fix a radio. Basically, we fixed a broken radio and made it a working radio. So that was that was on plan though, but that was because the folks that sent us the kit sent us nothing but broken components. And then again, you know, that video worked out really well because now you'll know how to troubleshoot. So I actually now have a legitimate troubleshooting video on how to build a radio and get it working again. We had to order a new crystal, order a new chip, and unsolder these solder mounted components on the board, which are really hard. We used a heat gun for that. So I recommend that video if you're into troubleshooting. I have to say it was a disaster. But if I didn't know how to, troubleshoot, I would have sent it back and kept returning it for parts until it actually worked, until I got a unit that actually worked. But I figured, hey, why not? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. The reason why I'm doing the flat ones first, because it's easier, but honestly, it doesn't matter which ones you do first because we have the magnetic helping hands, which is phenomenal. This one's backwards. Remember, even though I said it's backwards, there's no right or wrong way to put the resistors in. I'm just doing it for the beauty. I want it to look, see, uniform, so nice with all the reds going down the line, opposed to like it being like a checkered pattern. It just makes for a nicer unit, and plus it's see-through. So now I can take the tape, put this back, see, press down, and just make sure we make a little line underneath, bend that like that, and like that. See, I love these helping hands though. They are phenomenal because they can maneuver anywhere on the board. Look, I want to put it there, I want to put it here, and I want to put this there, like that. Change my, you're not tied to or conformed or to like the one particular part or experience because they are maneuverable, which is amazing. So these will have to be cut when we're done, and then we'll go here. Remember, I already applied flux to here, but I'll leave a link to everything here in the description. We're at 4 something. This needs to be at the ideal temperature. Let's see what we have here. Okay. All right, so remember, tap it. And if you're camping, it means the temperature is not right, which is definitely not here, or you're not at the right angle, or you need flux, okay? It's going to be one or the other, or a little more solder, because solder helps melt solder, all right? And that usually helps when desoldering. In this case, we're not desoldering. So the temperature, see, I just tap it, boom, and just getting that right angle in there. See, tap it. This one got, sometimes it's hard to get that angle, and if you miss the angle, solder just tends to get in the wrong place. In this case it did, but that's okay, I can fix it. It just doesn't melt properly. You just tap it. See, you tap, 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 and tap. And then I can go back to where I miss. It's just at the weird angle, but we can definitely finagle it. Where it taps, and then 2 more. It's just hard to see, but we got it because we are tapping along the process. And tap. Looks like I'll need to clean the soldering thing. I have one over here. Another one. That one needs to be replaced, but I have this one. Helps to clean any remnants. Once your remnants starts, you start seeing more of your solder stuck here after cleaning it, then it means that you need a new steel wool thingy. As you can see, there's just so much in there. But I have extra ones. I just have to change it down the line. Probably do it after the video. And then the pliers. I'll leave a link to the pliers because these are great ones because they are magnetic, which works really well because they will just, everything sticks to it as long as it's magnetized. See that? It comes off, just clip it, clip it, clip it, clip it, clip it. See? And just check your joints. Make sure there aren't any other joints that need additional solder or maybe less solder. Maybe you caked it on too much. I wouldn't worry too much if it was caked on. I'd worry more if it bridges. Bridges means that you apply too much and it's crossed over where it's connecting to another connection. But as you can see here, everything's nice and clean. Yeah, remember this is practice, and this kit was only like, what was it, 20 bucks, 10 bucks, $15, something like that. See, now we have everything here opposed to a flight controller, which cost more. So since we have these helping hands, it really doesn't matter which parts we solder on next, because if you're soldering here on the table, then you'd want everything to be level, but they don't have to be, because we have these helping hands which will allow us to put it in any position. Look at that. So, but aside from being able to put it in any position, you want to have access to all of your parts too. All right, so now we're going to do the, so sometimes it's hard to solder joints which are blocked in if it's here. Like if I put the buzzer in, it's going to be hard to solder the other parts, the other diodes. So here's our flux. We're going to apply more flux. I think I'm going to do the diodes, the LEDs. Okay, so here's the flux. We're just going to put it down, put some there. See that? We'll use a little brush. Do that. And, excuse me. So now we have that. Let's move this here. So as you see, we want to match the colors. We have green, blue, and red. So we have green, except we just can't put them in. It says align the groove on the chip with the groove on the socket. Yeah, okay. That would probably be for the chip. Hold on. Install 3-piece green LEDs at G. The longer leg of each LED should correspond to the square of the PCB. So the longer part, which is the positive side, see, long is positive, short is negative. The longer part goes towards the square. So well, not that way, but this way. See that? So the long side is positive and the round side is negative, which is weird because most boards don't operate that way, but this one does. Like if you recall when we built some other components here, let's see what we have. That's not how they show on the board. See, it tells you which one's positive, which one's negative, how the LED or diode's supposed to go, the LED. But yeah, so this is a new one for me. And even when we built the glasses, you know, you knew which one was positive and negative. In this case, it says the square is the long side of the LED, okay? Which is, yeah, that's troublesome. The square is the long side of the LED. Okay, again, because this is new to me. I've been soldering for years, and I've never seen a board like this before, where the square is the long side of the LED. I wonder if I could put them all in. You could reuse the painter's tape, if you know where it is. I had it here a second ago. Oh, it's right here. It's stuck on me. Remember, the square is the long side of the LED, blue and then red. The square, it can't, because these are hard to get out. If you mess up, that's why I keep reiterating what I'm saying, because with LEDs, they're hard to take out as soldered components. And if you put them in wrong, you might as well just go get new ones, because you can get them out, but it's hard to take them out and have them be the way they're supposed to in one piece without melting them. The square is the long side of the LED. And if you've seen the video where we built those LED glasses, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a nightmare. All right, so the square is the long side of the LED. So when we apply the tape on, right, and flip it over, we should be able to see, and just press down so that they, see, applying pressure. And then now, oh wow, nice. Make sure they're evenly straight up so that you can, wow, this is really nice. Look at that. See? Just apply pressure so that goes like that. See? And now, just double check, square is the long side of the LED. Yes, 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 yes. Just double check. Because, like I said, they're a pain to take out. And it's much easier to fix a bridge connection than an LED in the wrong spot. That's why it's good. That's why sometimes with these kits, if you recall, they threw in extra LEDs because they know that some are dead, right? Or aside from some not being dead, they're not easy to take out, and you'll damage them, you know, taking them out if you're new or even if you're experienced, because it does require patience. And I think, no, I don't think I have any extra ones laying around. All right, knowing that and moving forward, this we want the temperature. You want to make sure your soldering iron temperature is what it's supposed to be, because if you're camping on an LED, you're burning it out because it's plastic, okay? It's not like one of those semiconductors. All right, so now make sure your temperature is ideal, because again, you do not want to spend time camping on your LEDs, okay? Because if you are, you're going to burn it out. Not really burn it out, you're going to melt it. Melt it, and you don't want to melt it. You see, we're just tapping it. Tap, tap, tap. And that's how, remember, we made sure that the temperature to our soldering iron was at its melting point, so that, oops, we got, sometimes you have to clean this off. Well, that's weird. So that we got, so we're not camping on here, and it just reaches its melting point as soon as we tap it, okay? And then you're optimizing the soldering experience, and you're optimizing the life expectancy of your parts to ensure that when you plug this baby in, it's gonna work. Nothing will be melted except for this thing. I'll put this here. Let's clean it off, just double check. Sometimes you might have to re-tin your board, but in this case, nope. See? Voila. All right, so now we got that. Now what you want to do is take your wire cutters, right? Take these, clean them off if you've got other remnants of stuff on it, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But these are sharp, so they will prick you, and it does hurt when you get pricked by these things. Move this like that. And then now we can just cut these off. See? Snap, 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 snap. And if you tapped it, right, the way you should have, oh wow, you shouldn't have any bridge connections. Bridge means having solder bleed and then connecting another component, and then that would simply create a short on your device and blow it up, like we did with one of our flight controllers. And now when we take it off, hopefully the colors are correct. See? Voila. Magnificent. So we're almost there, almost. But so again, it doesn't matter with these helping hands how you're going to solder the parts on, because it just works like magic. So it's just a matter of deciding. The transistor, we measured it, we know it's good, but can only go in one way, flat part to flat part. So that has to match the diagram, okay, or the schematic. But in this case, there is no schematic to this thing, which is really interesting. Usually a lot of the soldering builds we've built, all the games and radios and remote controllers and robotics kits came with schematics. This one didn't. We might be able to do a couple of parts here. Let's do the diode. The diode, remember, the gray line has to match the gray line. Yeah, I think we can get away with it. We can put these helping hands to a test. All right, see that? And put this in like that. See? Make sure that, remember, just line it up, match it. We should be able to get away with that. The buzzer, so I'm not sure of the buzzer, because remember, they didn't mark there's no schematics. The buzzer says, install one-piece buzzer. The long leg of each LED should correspond to the square pad. So the long leg goes to the square part. So if you've been following me, usually it tells you which one's positive and which one's negative on your buzzer. Hope this isn't, yeah, it looks like we'll have to just do the LED first because it's not going to hold. I hope this is not the new way of like making soldering kits where the long part is the short square part on the board. I'm like, what? That's the new way. Whereas, you know, before they would mark it positive and negative. You're killing me. Okay, so now we got, remember, in this case, we didn't put flux there. So we want to, you know, just take some on the brush. And you can just squeeze in there. See, tap, 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 tap. Just get it in to the areas that need. And remember, try not to bridge the connections because the transistor has three little prong thingies, okay? So you want to make sure you only get solder where it needs to, okay? And there we go. And if you tap it and it's not working, it means that you're not at the right angle, or your soldering temperature is not hot enough, okay? So in this case, I'm not tapping in the right angle. There we go. Again, with the transistors, be really careful. Make sure it's in correctly, like the line to line. And also, see, look, these are magnetic, so it's too close. I can spread it out, see, without doing any damage. So in this case, I want to be really careful here. Got one, and I can move it around thanks to these magnetic helping hands. Put it where it needs to be, and then tap, boom, tap, boom. Remember, if you're camping on your soldering joints, see, oh well, like just to move the helping hands to get it at an even better angle. Don't camp on the soldering components. Camp just means spending too much time with your soldering iron trying to get the solder to melt on the joint, where you're just gonna either blow out the pads and do other stuff that, you know, just isn't ideal for the experience, because it can be fixed. Don't get me wrong. If you're, you know, if you practice, troubleshoot, you can fix it, but you don't want to spend time fixing your new build. You want to maybe spend time troubleshooting it, figuring out how it works. Okay, so there's that. Yep. So now we'll do the buzzer. Spam. All right. So remember, the long side goes to the square side of the board, and we'll just double check that because this is new to me. Normally it says positive, positive, negative, negative, but in this case, no. Install one-piece buzzer. The long leg of each LED should correspond to the square pad of the PCB. Okay, same thing with the resistors. So the long part, so in case you're wondering, see, one is shorter, one is long part. So the long part corresponds to the square part. And we could apply a little bit of flux, because remember, flux will help the soldering experience so that the solder just melts like the liquid man from the Terminator. And you see, if we turn it upside down, that's not going to do justice. And that's why we are using painter's tape. Okay, excuse me. All right. So we just, and you see this one piece of tape has gone a long way. Now we can turn it upside down. And look, the magnetic hands allow us to like maneuver it anywhere. We could use this one, but we're not using that one because of the way the positioning of the board is. But in the last video, we used that one. These are just phenomenal, and they're sturdy. I'll leave a link to these in the description. Thanks to the folks. Oops, the only thing messed up on is the tape for sending this to us. Oopsie, you want to make sure your tape is in there, otherwise the buzzer is not going to hold, and you want it to hold. Okay, knowing that, moving forward, just double check your buzzer. Make sure it doesn't slip out. Temperature is at 500. It needs to be like 680 on this one. All right. And let's see what we have here. So now, so what is that? Make sure it's not work. Sometimes I get called in and I have to stop. Oh, spam. I don't know how they find me. All right. Knowing that, moving forward, temperature is at 670, 680 is ideal. And now we can just tap it. Tap, tap, tap. See, we tapped it. Boom. Tap it. Boom. And then now we've got our buzzer in. And clean off the tip, because that's going to help with your soldering experience. Make sure there's nothing in the way. Now we can flip it over. Make sure we get the solder out of there. And voila. Now we've got our buzzer in. Wow, we're almost done. Look at that. We got our on-off switch, the other things. And so let's do the on-off switch. I can't go wrong there. There's only one way to put that in. This one, I would highly recommend using the tape. As you can see, we're going to press it with the tape. There's only one way to put it in, I hope. Yep, because I remember one time with the glasses, it went on the other side of the board. See what we got here? And you can just fold it over. Remember painter's tape? Okay. And then now we could use the magnetic helping hands. This is great. If you've been following me, I never used the magnetic helping hands because they were a pain in the butt. And these are phenomenal because the ones I was using was this. I'm actually getting rid of these. I'm selling them at the garage sale because we've got something better and amazing. Knowing that and moving forward, for sure, since the switches have like these major gaps in them, between the connections and the solder melting joints, so you want to put flux on it because you don't want to spend too much time camping on there. And then we want to wait for because the solder will fall into some of the parts and it could bridge it, and you don't want to bridge it. And so now we just do like that. So it goes like that, and just hold it, let it melt, work its magic so that it just covers it. I'll show you guys in a second after I do it. Tap, tap, tap. Whoops. Just tap it, and then, yeah. Boom. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's done. That's it. We did it. Solder was at the right temperature. But what happens is there are like these big holes, and you don't want the solder to fall into the holes. You just want to do it so it's like that. You can see it from there. Looks kind of cool. We're almost done. Oh, for this, yeah, I guess we can clip the buzzers, but there's no need to clip those, what we just soldered in with the switch. The switches are usually easy to do. So you see, we'll just buzzer. And make sure everything's off, because if you clip something and you saw how it's stuck to it because of the solder, the flux, that can cause your connection to bridge and blow out. So we'll probably clean this up when we're done with some alcohol, so that there isn't any remnants of solder and isn't any remnants from parts we clipped, because you saw how I clipped it and it's stuck on there, and that would bridge and blow the shit up. So knowing that, moving forward, don't worry, we'll take you through the whole cleaning process too in the end. All right, so now we'll leave the chip for last. I guess we can, we can do the buzzers. Remember, there's no rhyme or reason because we have these magnetic helping hands, which are just phenomenal. So we can just put parts on any way we choose and adjust them with these magnetic helping hands. Maybe we want to use this side now, right? Since we're done with the other side, right? You're using the parts that need to go in there. And then I can, wow, look, I can do it sideways and higher, right? Isn't that cool? And make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be, except this isn't an ideal angle for me. But it could be for you. For me, I need for them to be the other way. I guess I could, or you could tip it over, right? Like this, see? Sort of. Or ideally, if you want to. Some people can solder this way, but yeah, I guess I can try. Get the temperature hot though, so you're not camping on there. Remember, no camping. This is like a no camping zone. Oh yeah, I could do it like that. You won't be able to see it from that camera, but I can do it so that it's like this. Make sure nothing falls back. Just push it in. Yeah, look at that. You can maneuver it so it's like that. I can do like a 360. Make sure my temperature is almost there. It's at 380. No, 345. And there has to be a 380. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just testing it out, trying to see if it works better without the cover or with the cover. I like the way it looks. Looks without the cover, only because this is frosted glass. Probably wondering why you see me here in this part of the video. Well, if you made it this far in the video, then you're eligible to enter into the contest. Just leave in the comments Magic Crocs. Magic Crocs is the key word in the comments section, which will make you eligible in the drawing for, drum roll please, the Pine 64 soldering pencil. That's right, you've earned it. You've made it this far in the video, and you'll be eligible to enter the drawing. My Crocs in the comments. Just leave the word My Crocs in the comments. Great video or whatever you leave, and you'll be eligible to win. And hopefully you'll get yours working too, with the frosted glass or without the frosted glass. You decide. Anyway, get back to soldering. The video's not over yet. Have fun and experiment with it and see how it goes. Ciao. I know 380 is ideal for this particular one. See, I got one and almost two. That one's it's a little bit harder. We'll do it at this particular angle, but it can be done. As you saw, I got two joints, but in this case I'm gonna flip it over this way, make sure everything is good to go, make sure nothing moved. Nice. So now what I'm going to do is put it this way. Watch your soldering iron. Remember, it's hot. See, I can do like this and tap that in like that, and then double check, make sure everything is golden. Yep. Now I can, again, if too much goes in, that's okay. You can use the solder Wick Pen. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Voila. The other one has a little bit too much because I was soldering at a particular angle. But for those of you who can solder at that angle, power to you. And now I can just apply and let dry. Voila. And then we got it. Almost done. Kind of neat, huh? Yeah, see? And these I have extra ones of, which is kind of cool. You could probably, it could probably have been done with tape, but it's fine. No harm, no foul. You could hold your soldering iron on it. These parts are hard to remove though, the buttons, and then let it melt and then push it in. See? Let it melt and then push it in, let it melt and then push it in, and then it's fine. Again, no camping. If you're camping on here, you're melting it, especially with these switches, these little potentiometer type thingies, buttons. Now, which one I put on? I don't know which one to put on because this these helping hands are great. All right, so probably the scoreboard or the what do they call it? They call this I call it the LED screen, but they call it digital tube. So if we're going to install the digital tube, which tells the numbers, the dots, think of decimals, have to be down, okay? So this part's pretty self. This part I'm going to use a fresh piece of tape because I don't want the digital tube to be in upside down or just move. I want it to be flat in there. So for this one, I'm going to use a regular piece of tape. I mean, a fresh piece of painter's tape, okay? See, I can apply it there, and then I could push down if I'm not sure if it's going to come out from the other side. All right, so then what we can do is take another piece and then go from here on this side. Go from here on this side and then just tear it off so that, I mean, we just want it to be there. And then we want this one. Oh no. Bummer. I hope not. Interesting. Looks like we'll have to return this kit. Hopefully not. Oh no. Oh, so yeah, it looks like there's a, well, this is the way it goes. Hold on. Yeah. But there isn't a connection going on this one, which is a bummer. See, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have, oh man. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other one has 6. But we have, damn it, it's not going to work. Oh, we'll see. Hopefully it'll work. Let's keep our fingers crossed. See, there isn't one to go into that hole. Damn it. But hopefully there might be. That is so weird. Let's look at it on here. I wonder if, see, if we had a schematic, we would know. But, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the other one has 5. Hopefully that's the case. But anyway, the decimals go at the bottom, just so you know. Yeah, all right. Well, hopefully this isn't a lemon, and we will be, you know, we'll be good. Press down the tape so that it holds it, and then pray that it works. Then you have, remember, with these helping hands, they can go any way on the board. You can even solder diagonally, especially if you want to take apart. And you can move it around. See? Magnetic. So you're not tied to the position. All right. Let the soldering iron reach its optimal temperature. In this case, it's 680 something, 684, 85. All right. Almost there. 500. It goes pretty fast too. All right. Almost there. These will have to clip off. And I believe we've reached the optimal temperature. So now we can do this and tap it. No camping. We're almost done. And don't worry if you are. If this is your first soldering video, it's okay. You know, you'll get there. And also the trick is having the right solder. Sometimes there's so many different solders out there that some have a higher, burn at higher temperatures. In this case, this one's burning really well. And we didn't even apply flux to it. That could also be determined by the board, the PCB board. Some PCB boards just burn well. You know, don't just work together hand in hand. As you can see, I didn't apply any flux. And then here we are. Voila. Make sure the dots are at the bottom, right? Decimals. And then look at that. And now we'll put on the chip. The chip, before we put the chip on, be really careful. So there are two components to it. There's this part right here, which is the part that holds the board, and it's like the chip placer. Then you have the chip itself. Let me see if they have a... align the groove on the chip with the groove of the socket. This is like a chip socket, okay? So you're going to want to line them up because there's only one way to put the brain in to this thing. So the groove to groove, see how that part goes in like that? It's like a half crevice of a moon. And then this part will be easy to put in. It's the chip itself. And then line them up. If they don't line up, use your tweezers to just bend it a little bit so we can get it in the hole. In this case, I recommend using painter's tape because you really want it in there and you don't want it popping out. And this is the brains of the whole operation. All right. And then however many connectors there are is however many soldering joints we'll have to do. See, it's in there. The tape's holding it together. And then now, this part, we want to make sure we're at the right angle. And, excuse me, make sure it's the angle that works right for you. It doesn't have to be, excuse me, it doesn't have to be the way, it doesn't have to be like, oh, he did it like that. Oh, he did it like this. No. If you're used to soldering a certain way, just solder the way that works right for you. And as you can see, we're out of real estate. So we sort of have to work it so that it works just right. So now we got this in place. Okay. Again, this is the brain of the everything. So we want to make sure that the soldering iron temperature is where it needs to be. Okay. And then we can turn this around, get that ready in the meantime. And it's at 575. So now we just wait and see. It should take a little bit. And we're almost done. And then we, sort of. Then we have the little sensor thing, the biomimicry of the bat echo system. And then we'll just put it together and see if it works. You need 3 AAA batteries. I believe I have them somewhere around here. I'll take them from one of the devices. And then now, this part's, yeah, we're at 712, okay? And then now we'll bridge the connection. Tap, remember tap. Tap it. Tap. That's weird. In this case, see, the solder's not melting. I'm spending too much time camping, which means, remember what the flux does. The flux helps to create the experience where it helps to melt the solder, okay? So now we should be able to tap, and no camping. Tap, 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 tap. I have to spin it around because sometimes it's hard to get that angle. Tap, 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 and tap. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 14 connections, okay? Tap times 2, because remember there's a top and there is a bottom. Tap, 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 and tap. Got them all. And clean off the head of your soldering iron. You could retin it if it needs to be retinned, but if you do everything the way you're supposed to, you shouldn't have to retin it till your next project. But sometimes you do. It all depends on what you're soldering. See, and there we go. Now we can take it off. We got the socket connector for the chip there. We got the buzzer, we've got the diode, we've got the transistor, we got the resistors, we got the little switches, the little buttons, right? And we have the on-off switch. And now, this part right here, the masterpiece, the sensor, the biomimicry at its best. I guess it works like a bat, right? So this part is going to be tricky because I do want it to be nicely in there. They're just little nets, so don't worry about getting tape on them. So we're going to use some fresh painter's tape because I do want it to be in there nicely. Put that here, put that there. There we are. And then we can actually, yeah, we can. We'll do that later. I don't want to put the chip in just yet because the heat from the soldering iron just traveling around. I don't want to get it too hot, and I don't want to get any parts hot that don't need to be any hotter because the heat travels again. So you see, you got it on there like that. There is some tape. I have to move the tape a little bit. In this case, I want there to be flux. And then I'll put this like that. And then we should be able to tap. Don't bridge it. Bridge means if you get solder in between two connections, it will cause it to short out. If you bridge it, it's okay. Use the solder flux pen defluxer, so desoldering tool, to suck it out, but hopefully you won't have to. All right, and then now, wait for the temperature to reach its ideal point. Otherwise, you're going to be camping and holding your soldering iron there, waiting to melt it, and just burning your stuff or melting your pad connections. Almost there. And see, now it fluctuates between 705, 680, and just find that right temperature. I'll leave a link in the description here. We have 734. Tap. Tap. And two more. Tap. And tap. Voila. Finito. Almost. But then we have the power, right? And now we know the plus side is the square part. See, look at that. See? And we just got to put it together. And of course connect the power, which would be down here. Remember, plus is positive. So now we need to connect the battery connector thingy. Let's see. Square is positive. So the square part's the positive. I wonder if it goes, yeah, it goes underneath. Okay. So the square part, this part's a little bit tricky because the joints are they don't give you a lot of space, but it's really easy to do. And then, I'm not sure why this is like that. Looks like I have to run it out. There we go. Remember, the plus side is the square side. You can do one at a time. In this particular case, remember plus is square. You can squeeze that in like that. Oh, nice. And then apply tape underneath. Yeah, I think that's a better idea. So here's what we'll do. We'll put this in like that. The round ones, they don't need to be tinned. These looks like these pieces are already, these parts are already tinned. And so then what we can do is apply some painter's tape so that this can hold. I got them in, but hopefully they hold. Okay. So apply some tape, right? And then we can continue with the helping hands. Magnetic helping hands, which is phenomenal. And then now we go here and we can put one here. And remember, if it's not long enough, just roll it on the magnetic table and bring it in. All right, so now temperature should be ideal. Definitely want flux. I don't want it to bleed or bridge the connections. Okay, and then we go there. And now we wait for the temperature to be its ideal melting point. Hopefully, oh, actually, yeah, that's right. Hopefully, will it let us? Install the battery box and secure it with the nylon screws. Okay, great. I was going to say, hopefully we don't have to, because in some kits, you have to maneuver the battery box through the connections after it's closed. But in this case, no. So it looks like it's all going to be sealed together inside. We are at ideal temperature. Looks like it's 730 this time with the see, tap it. And next one, we will tap it, and voila. We've got the battery connection, and we did it. Well, sort of. It has to work, right? So I need 3 AAA batteries, but hey, the kit's done. Oh, and then after that, we secure it, right, with these things right here. We could always use the black tape that we used on the flight controller to, you know, to cover this up after it's on there, and after we make sure it works, after we clean it up, because remember, we do not want it to short out with any remnants of anything that's on there. Okay, so let me get the rubbing alcohol. We have a Q-tip right here, thankfully, a spare one. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we could use one. One should do the trick. Make sure it's clean and there's no remnants of anything on it. If it's not, you could ruin it. You know, just having little pieces of shards of something on it. So in that case, you know what? I'm gonna get a new one. So, as you can see, I'm not gonna use that one. I don't want to, of course, contaminate this and short it out. I don't know. That's why it's good to use the Q-tips from a bag or something, you know, from its original container. And see, we have alcohol on here. It'll dry. And now we can get rid of the helping hands. These were amazing, amazing. If you've been following me, I don't use helping hands, but now I will. See, use the alcohol. See, clean it off. Wow, it is coming off too. And then just make sure nothing bridges. You know, could use another paintbrush if you have one to get the other remnants off. But as you can see, it's working. Cleaning up the board. See? Voila. Board's cleaned off. You know, if you have another, you could use a paintbrush if need be. And then now, it said to put this on with its screws. So most likely this goes on the back, right? We have 2 screws there. You could always use the tape if need be. Looks kind of cool. The way it's connected. Hold on. You could put this like that. Put that like that. I just want to try and finagle it so that it just goes the way it's supposed to. Hopefully I don't have to redo it. Shouldn't have to. It should just go in. You know, sometimes it doesn't always work that way with these things. Oh, there we go. Just trying to finagle it. See how this can go on. You could always cut the wires and make them shorter. In this case, I'm just using what they sent us. All right, so look, this goes like this. This goes in there. And sort of, it's a little hard to finagle it. These are legitimate screws. They don't just go in. So you need a Phillips head and then turn them in. And then you can use the little bolts to secure them. There should be two. Oops, sorry. I almost moved the camera. There we go. Yeah, there should be two altogether, but I don't see where the other one is. I'm sure it's on here because we left everything on here. So we'll just turn that. So that's like that, but then we still have to find the other bolt. Let's see, we can put this here. And then we have one here, one bolt. We need the other one, little plastic ones. So this will go into the hole. See, push it in. And then, ideally, this will turn like this. And you just spin it. And then it'll secure it. Well, secure one. We still have to find the other one. See? And we can move this so that this is out of the way. And now we're looking for the bolt. Put this down. It's magnetic. We got one bolt. But now we have to find the other one. It could be on the tape. Look on the tape, right? Sometimes that happens. You can get rid of the solder if need be. Move the camera. Oh, I see it. Sometimes things move around. See? It just happens all the time. It's happened in all my videos when it comes to moving parts and missing parts. Make sure that's straight though. And put that like that. And then now, this will go like that. And then we'll just turn it. Yeah, I feel it tightening. Nice. Whoops, watch your LEDs. Because you could accidentally bend them. And then now I need 3 AAA batteries, which I have. 1 second, I will be back. Need some extra tape. Close this stuff so we don't want to cross-contaminate our flux, right? And then I will make sure this is still recording. Great. And then now 3 AAA batteries. I'll be able to take them from one of the games. This game, I think, has 3 AAA. Yep, it does. All right, so we'll take them from this game. All right. Make sure they're good batteries, meaning fresh, fully charged. We always use rechargeables, so we're lucky in that sense. And then now we can see if it works. We know the game works. This was one of our other builds, retro game. I'll leave a link to that in the description too. All right, so now we'll go here. And oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Haha. All right, so anyway, if you're probably wondering after you get it going, how to get it to stop beeping. So basically you have to set the threshold. As you can see, I have my threshold set to 5 or 6 or 7 or maybe 8. I'll leave it at 5. I'll actually bring it down to 5. So then when it goes below 5, then it'll beep. So for example, from here to here, it's about 48, 56, something like that. And then if I bring it in, closer I get to 0, which would be about 5, it'll beep. See? Watch. See, at 3, 4, which is closest to 5, it rounds it off. And that's how you set your threshold. Anyway, remember to leave that comment, right? You know the secret word. You'll have to scrub back if you need to know. Anyway, back to soldering. Kind of neat, huh? You'll get it working too. Just make sure you have fresh batteries. See, at 5, that's the threshold I have mine set to. All right, carry on. See what we have here. 1, and then we have 2. Make sure it's off. And 3. And now if we turn it on, oh, the brain. I was like, wait, what's wrong? So now we put the chip in, okay? The chip is over here on this side. I was like, well, this can't be. So that happened with the radio, but they sent us a bad chip. So that was why the LCD or the screen didn't work. Sometimes some of these might be bent, and this part is tricky because it is not easy putting these chips in and taking them out. If you've ever been punctured by them, it does hurt pulling a chip out, so you got to be really careful. Make sure it's lined up on one side. Oh wow. Make sure it's lined up on the other side too. So the other side, you know, sometimes you may have to bend it. You can use a wooden dowel or a plastic one just to bend them in the angle that they need to be bent in. Looks like it's working. So that looks like that's off. I mean, it was on. Again, this part is really tricky, and you can tell that make sure it's off because you don't want to short it out. So now that again, this part is really tricky on all the ones we've done. Because it's the chip. Once you get it, if you get it, you are golden. And again, you could put this in first, but I don't, because I want to make sure. Oh my, I don't like to apply heat to the board, to the chips, to the brains of the project. Move this out of the way while working on I like to, and then I'd rather go through the challenge of putting the chip in and then lining it up. I think I got it. Sort of. Bingo. Remember, before you press, make sure they're lined up. And that one's lined up. And if they're not, you can always finagle it by using one of these things. Little tool that allows you to pry up without puncturing yourself too much. As long as it... Where's my phone? Spam. I hate when that happens. I'm getting a lot of them lately. To the point where I'm actually thinking of changing my number. So one side went in, the other side didn't. It's fine now, it's doable. Just getting that. Looks like we got it, but it should work. Let's see. Nice. Oh, wow. 41. I guess this will probably set the threshold. Let's see, set it there. 39. Oh, it's moving back. Look at that. When I go to the front, it should reach, oh yeah, 0. Oh wow, it's pretty exact. All right, so let's see what we get from the ruler though. Let's see, oh, from there to there, the wall should measure 30, sort of. I'm not sure if it's from here to here. Nah. Oh yeah. Oh. I guess that locks it on, rounds it off. I guess that sets the threshold. Whoops. If I move it in, I want it to be 0. Whoops, that's not it. Hold on. It is working, but I'm not sure what the... I guess you have to program it, but it's pretty good. Except for the buzzing sound. Let's see with the LEDs. Let's see. You get one LED goes on, but I'm not sure why the other ones don't. Oh, nice. So they all work. So that's at 0. The head, meaning like if it touches the wall. And then from here, it should be... I don't want it to beep every time. Let's see. Let's try. I'm going to try putting it at the wall. Hold on. I'm going to shut it off and then turn it on. Oops, let's see. So it would be reset. And then now, hold on. Really not sure what it's measuring at, but could be it's millimeters instead of inches. I wonder if I can. Oops. Yeah, it's in millimeters. Okay. Bummer though. There's no inches. That means it does work. You just have to be able to convert your millimeters into inches. So let's see. Turn that, tweak that. Turn it off, let it reset. Let it go to 0. All right. About 40 millimeters. Hold on. So that would be, it's killing me. Oops. Alexa, 40 millimeters is how many inches?
40 millimeters is about 1.6 inches.
1 point, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so that was right. 1.6. All right. Well, sort of. No, that's 1 foot. Nah, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Let's put this thing back together and we'll figure that part out later. At least we know it works, but it is measuring millimeters. But I do want to get that chip in all the way. Again, funny. Again, you can pry the chip out. See, one part is not in all the way. Just check your parts. You know? And then you can do that one. That's where the tweezers come in handy. And now, make sure everything one part doesn't go in. Okay. Try it again. You want to make sure they're all straight too. That's the tricky part. Because if they're not, they will bend. And then that screws it up. Okay. Make sure they're aligned, not aligned. Just use the tweezers to align them. Got it. Bingo. Yep, so now I got it in. Now it will work now. Still the same measurements. That's 0, which is fine. I wonder if I go down there. I'm not sure why they put the decimal point there. Oops. Why it beeps a lot. Turn it off to reset it. The measurements are pretty dead on. Because that's 0. And then if I move it back, it just keeps going. The numbers. But the trick is to... Yeah, so you just have to figure out what these measurements are, the threshold, and... But it does work, so we'll watch all the LEDs work. See? And then if I pull back... See? It's kind of neat. Now let's put this thing together. The buzzing is annoying, but chips in correctly, which is great. Everything works except for, oh bummer, the batteries are in here, which means that I wonder if, yeah, it gets sealed with the batteries. Well, I may have to order new ones. Or, yeah, because look, the batteries go in there. This comes off, this little plastic. Looks like there's some shield, there's some coating on here. Yep. Let's make it transparent. See? And then this one here, too. You could probably, this one's probably the back. You could probably, no, fortunately not. It has to get sealed that way. A little bit of a bummer. And then to take the batteries out, you're going to have to yeah. Kind of looks better open if you ask me, because the transparency of the plastic isn't as good as the plastic on that game. Let's see what these little two, oh, probably the, yeah. Could always tape the back, but hold on. Let's put these things on, which are right here. Here we go. There's this. See, everything falls into place. Longer ones bottom, shorter ones top. The ones with the two holes are on the top for the little buttons. See that? Like this. And then this opens out a little bit. See? And then this will go like that. So probably shorter ones on top, longer ones at the bottom. So that would mean that this would go like this. And the other ones at the bottom. I wonder if they're Phillips heads. Yeah, Phillips head. So what you can do is, I probably do the bottom first. And then, so remember, long ones at the bottom, short ones at the top. So we don't have to do the top as of yet. But what we could do is this. Remember, once you close the back, the batteries are in there, so I won't be able to play that game until I get other AAA batteries. See? They're all the same size screws. It's just a matter of them going in. See, look. And then this one. Go in there. And then this. It's not magnetic, so I mean, it's okay. We can get them in. See? Voila. This one's not going in, so I'm just going to swap the screw. See? Voila. I mean, you could just do this part first, and then for this, we could probably use tape on the back. The tape that you use for the flight controller. I'll just leave it like this for now. Remember, all screws are the same size, except you want to make sure that these go in before you apply the other screws. See? Voila. The back's going to fall out anyway if you don't put the top on. So you could always just put the, you don't have to do like I'm doing. You can put it together without it being on the PCB board or the kit. See? Voila. And just hold it so it turns and locks. And then see, you just got to hold it. And one more. Again, it's going to pop out, okay, if we don't. I'll show you in a second so that you don't have to put it this way. And then now, see, watch, see, it comes out because it's not securely on there. But I think, honestly, I don't like the cover. You can't see anything. I would just say do this and put tape, use tape for the back, right? Let, you know, the flight controller tape to, you know, let it work the magic so that the wires in the back just, you know, stick onto the board. Ideally, this looks good this way because, and you don't have to put the cover on just yet. You can just put these on to make it look really cool. Because look, the cover goes on last. See? So this is really neat. Yeah, I think I'll, because you can't see the numbers. They're so faint. It's like washed out. It's like a window. This weird window. Frosted glass. Yeah, it looks frosted. I don't want frost. I want to be able to see my numbers without having to squint my eyes and see what's actually on there. Put this like this. Could always screw them from the back, from the side. Yeah, I think I like it like that. Hold this so it's tight. See, just hold it. It's fine. Bend this a little bit. That can go underneath. Turn it on. I don't need it to buzz every time. There must be a way to set it. It does work. I just don't know what it's measuring, inches or... Must be able to... Anyway, it works. It's kind of neat. See how you want to see how it looks with the cover on. Remember, the two holes go here. See? That way turns it on. See? And then we have... Can turn it off and on to reset, but measuring from there to the wall, it measures at 26, 27. You could, this doesn't really do anything. You could set threshold, but see 293. And then from here to the ceiling, from here to the ceiling, to that part of the ceiling is 62. From there to there, it's 49. So it does work. It's, you know, it's measuring, it has a little threshold thingy, figuring out how to use it. Really cool soldering kit. As long as we, you know, I don't really think you need the buzzer, but you can shut it off. And then look, if we want to put the wires underneath, it looks okay with the cover on. We can take out these screws, right? Actually, what we'll do is this. We'll put the cover back on over here in the front, okay? And then we will work it the other way. Take it out from the back, take the screws out, and take the screws out from the back and just apply tape, paint the not painter's tape, but the tape we use on the flight controllers. See, these screws hardly go in. They do, but it takes some finagling. And then I'll just do this like that. See? Voila. We use a flathead. This way we can really get the screws in there. See? Flathead works better. For me, my Phillips head is too small. It's actually for the Nintendo Switch. See? One more screw, and it is finito. Looks like I got an extra one. They gave us an extra screw instead of LEDs. Well, that's fine. That's all right. See? Voila. Again, we can put the wires underneath, wrap them around. So I think I'll do that next. We know we had already done this. They come off really easily. If you have an electric screwdriver, use that. Plus, this is great because now we can take it apart, right, and really tighten these under there. See, we got one. And we got two. And then we've got three. And then we'll take this off. Tighten this, tighten this. Remember, make sure to tighten. Sometimes you might have to hold one so that the other one doesn't move. Tighten, tighten, and oh wow, that one's not tight. Tighten. Okay, now get rid of that. We can get the black tape. And this is what we use on the flight controller for the motors and other parts that we don't want to have, excuse me, exposed. It's alcohol, it's fine. You can cut two little pieces. There we go. And then we can just take the wires, run them around, wrap them around, you know, go from here, there, and then bring them one here, one piece here, see, and then push it down, and then the other one, black one looks a little bit longer. And that one can go there. Voila. Again, once we close it, we're not going to be able to use the other game. So I might have to get some other batteries or just, you know, leave them in for this video. And now we screw it in again. And then the last one. And put this back. And put this here. Make sure our soldering iron is plugged out so we don't accidentally burn things, and that's it. Check it out. Kind of neat, huh? Feel like the guy in Ghostbusters. This is really cool. See? Turn it on. We'll measure the distance, you know, from between there and there. It's 38, 40. Buzzers going in the background. From here to here, it should be, yeah, look at that, see? Oh, sweet. 0 to buzz. You can set the threshold. As I move back, the numbers get bigger, which is kind of cool. I wonder what it is from up there. 78. Oh, wow, see? And 80. So it's measuring the difference between there and there. This is really cool. Nice little measuring tool. If we go down, the numbers go down. If we go up, it's going to go back to 0. See? And yeah, it does work. I just have to figure out what conversion it is, but yeah, it's working. Wow, I like that. This is really neat. Gotta love it. Your first, so what is it? Supersonic, ultrasonic, megasonic measuring tool. Oh, this is another language in the back. Ultrasonic ranging. So it's ultrasonic ranging kit. Biomimicry at its best. Taking, you know, the echo system from the back, converting it into this kit that will work just right for you to simulate that experience. But we're not in a cave, although we are in the basement, right, when you think about it. But this is really cool. Oh, here they go, because I can't see. Ah, much better. Yeah, kind of neat, huh? Gotta love it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you level up with your soldering skills, and you know, you have a similar experience, if not better, with your kit that you too built. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below, or ideas for other videos. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.